This Thursday edition of Pucks Across Borders on Sports Addict Live and Total Apex Sports, brought to you by none other than First Round Collectibles. Right now, with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires across the whole store. They even have an ongoing sale up to 50% off of dozens and dozens of sports cards. With the promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Do the math. 20 becomes 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60. You get the picture. Get whatever sports card your heart desires. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing. They have it all. And with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off regular price and sales priced items. Go to firstroundcollectibles.com today and find your heroes. That's the number one, STRoundcollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah, the beast back. Adrenaline pumping through my veins. Can't relax. Original. I am not the same as these cats. I sting them if they...
Good morning and welcome to Pucks Across Borders on a Thursday. We're here. Lots to get into. Unfortunately for you guys, I have a lot to get into after my blue and white loss last night. But we are back. Lots to get into from last night and two games on the ice tonight. No late games. You get a little break. Maybe watch some basketball, watch some of the draft, and then 4 games tomorrow. And we'll get all into it all when the time comes. But first, as always, intros. I'm Mark Sauter. Good to be here. And at the bottom of your screen, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. John, how we feeling on a Thursday, man?
Hopefully better than yesterday when it comes to picking games.
Yes. You and me both. And right beside me at the top of your screen, you read his work about the NFL on Gridiron Heroics. You read his gambling picks on winners and whiners. You read his NHL coverage on TotalApexSports.com. You see him all over Total Apex Sports, talking football, basketball, baseball. He talks about it all. Andre, how we feeling on a Thursday, bro?
Feeling great. Yesterday was a day off for my teams when it comes to the playoffs. Ready to be back tonight. Ready to talk some more hockey today. A lot of interesting things happened last night. A lot of 2 crucial games tonight. So it's going to be a big one.
Big time, big time. Battle of the 2-0s tonight. 2 2-0 games. So you're absolutely right. And for you, man, for both of us, I get a break from my Leafs. You get a break from your Rangers, but you do have the Knicks. So both of us get to kind of take it easy when it comes to on the ice. All games are done by 10:30, which is just music to my ears because I forgot how late these games go. Every single night watching hockey till 1 a.m, man. It is not for the faint of heart. But I mean, there's worse things you could be doing to that time, but I'm tired already and we're just getting started. Let's get right into it. A bit of a shorter show today. Like I said, only 2 games tonight, but let's dive into what we learned last night. Andre, start with you, man. What is your takeaway from the NHL last night?
Are the Golden Knights gonna go back to back? It's the question everyone's asking. They beat Dallas in Dallas again, 3-1. Ottinger had a good game, so don't point fingers at him. Point fingers at a Stars offense that dried up for the first time in a very long time. There weren't a lot of road victories in the first 2 games of any playoff series, NHL or NBA. It seems like there was a lot of chalk, a lot of home teams walking away with a dub. The Golden Knights said, we don't care. They will have a chance to sweep at home because the next two are in T-Mobile Arena. They're on the right path. You can't ask for better than this. And I know being up 2-0 after 2 road wins means absolutely nothing. We saw that last year with the Rangers in the first round. But it's still, you can't ask for a better start. You can't ask for a better position to put your team in as you march toward a repeat. So love them, hate them, think they're fishy for their long-term IR shenanigans. Doesn't matter. The Golden Knights have won 2 games against the Western Seeds top conference, and they are halfway toward advancing.
Well, and it's just like simple math, right? Like, can you beat Vegas 4 times in the next 6 games? And I don't know if you can. Like, I think it's a little bit too early and dramatic to say they're done, they're toast or whatever, but it kind of feels that way, man. Like, how you're going to Vegas now, you lost 2 in your own barn, like you said. How are the Stars going to win both? Like, they basically have to win both those games. If you go down to the brink against Vegas, you're not winning that series. I just don't. That's just how I feel about it. And yeah, and this is the craziness and the beauty of the salary cap and the parity in the league is, and like, I hate it, but this is what happens is an 8 seed. And it's not like the Washington Capitals are about to beat the New York Rangers, right? Like, Vegas they're a very, very good hockey team. They're defending Stanley Cup champions. So it's a little bit different, but we talked about this, John, you talked about it too. Just the depth in the West is just incredible. And literally anyone can win in that conference. John, what about you, man? What was your takeaway on the ice last night?
I'll go with the other late night game between the Oilers and the Kings. Yesterday, I probably made an inaccurate prediction that it would be a lower scoring game, but I didn't think the Kings would be the reason why that I got that wrong. I mean, they scored 5 goals last night against Edmonton in a nice bounce back win. The 5th one coming in overtime, so clutch as well. I think the Kings had to have that one, or they'd be down 2-0 against a very skillful team like Edmonton. So this at least gives them some hope going back to their building. I'll say one thing about that series too. Like, Edmonton's given up a lot of goals. I mean, they've given up 9 in those 2 games, whereas I might argue the Kings are too, but at the same time, it's like they're facing one of the higher scoring teams in the NHL. So I think I'm just a bit surprised, considering the Kings aren't insanely skilled in scoring, but they're putting up a lot each game so far. And if this keeps up, it might be a longer series than we expected.
Well, we talked about this during the playoff preview, right? Is at least I mentioned it. Like, Cam Talbot had a terrific start to the season, and his numbers ended up being pretty good. But he had a really rough, at least first half to the last half of the season. The goaltending, like, there was speculation yesterday that David Riddick was going to play last night. Like, there's so the goaltending questions, I know, John, you've been pretty high on the Kings goaltending. I had some more questions about it. But really, for me, the story was Stuart Skinner had an incredible season. And can he keep that up for the playoffs? He played a lot of hockey this year, by far the most he's ever played. So can he keep that up? And so far, the answer is no. That's going to be really interesting to watch as well, heading back to LA. So for me, boys, I know, Andre, yesterday in the pre-show, we were talking about what our takeaways were going to be, and you said you want to kind of stay away from doing takeaways about your guys. I wish I could do the same, because what I saw from the Toronto Maple Leafs, Boston Bruins last night, I got to talk about it. I got to get it off my chest. This show is saving me hundreds in therapy bills, so I appreciate everybody who listens to me rant about my dilemma with my dilemmas with my team. So here's the thing. For the majority of that game, I honestly thought, and I said to my wife, who doesn't care, but she hears all of my hockey takes anyway, I told her, like, this might be the best Leaf playoffs game that I can remember. I thought they just played with a lot of energy, physicality. They played tight. The big thing about the first two games was just a lot of just dumb defensive mistakes, even offensive, just passing the puck into skates, just making a lot of kind of like questionable decisions. And last night, I thought they played a terrific hockey game for the most part. When you're 0 for 5 on the power play, like, that's a massive problem. Boston scored another power play goal last night. That is 4 or 5. Oh man, I'm blanking now. 4 or 5 power play goals that you have given up in this series, and you've only scored 2. So that's a massive, massive problem. I will say, and I know Leaf fans, including myself, were raving on Twitter. So the game's tied 1-1. That, was it the 2-1 goal or the 3-2 goal? I'm butchering this now, but on one of the goals, there were 2 blatant Boston penalties, like blatant, right in front of the refs, that were missed calls, went the other way, and Boston scored. It was the second goal. And like, it was so frustrating to watch because I thought the Leafs played a really good game. I thought they were getting the job done. The game's tied 1-1. 2 blatant penalties. One by Brad Marchand, who, that's what this guy does. Like, when he's on his game, he's a pest, and he's going to set you up for failure, man. If you take his bait, he will sink you. That's just what he does. And it was really, really frustrating to watch, not just as a fan, but as a like hockey like observer. Is like, missed calls happen, but when 2 happen back to back and it leads to a goal, it's just super, super frustrating, and you have to do better. Like, one of the penalties was in the middle of the ice, like in the middle, right by center ice. It was right there for the whole world to see. And when you got a really good game, both teams are very competitive, and the go-ahead goal is because you missed 2 blatant calls, is really, really frustrating. Now, I will say this, and I think it's important to add, and it is kind of the chalky, like, that's not why we lost the game. It's not why we lost the game. I understand the Leafs went 0 for 5 on the power play. It's not like the Leafs didn't have calls go their way. They did. And they had the opportunities, and they didn't capitalize on them. However, you still missed the calls. Like, it's not like, oh, well, the Leafs went, like, the Leafs had their chance. That's not why we lost. It's like, yeah, that's true. But 2 missed calls still led to a Boston goal. Like, it doesn't, like, just because the Leafs didn't take care of what they needed to take care of doesn't mean that the other's not true. You know what I mean? So it was just really frustrating to watch a really, really good hockey game by both sides, and the go-ahead goal. Now, Toronto tied it up, made it 2-2, and Boston, within like 30 seconds, made it 3-2, and the rest is history. So that was just frustrating from my side. Now, on the other side of things, like I said, I thought Toronto played a very good hockey game. This is what Boston does. Like, they're not going to blow you away. They're just going to capitalize on your mistakes. The Toronto Maple Leafs, and this is a fact, 9 out of their last 10 power plays, 9 out of their last 10 games, playoff games. So this is going back to last year's postseason. 9 out of their last 10 playoff games, they have scored 2 or less goals. And that is what this all really does boil down to, is you can complain about the refs like I just did. There are different parts to all of this. They played Bobrovsky in the second round last year. Very good goaltender. You're playing Jeremy Swayman and Allmark, both in the same series. Both very good goaltenders. But the bottom line is you've scored 2 goals in 9 out of your last 10 playoff games. And that has to change. It's that simple. You cannot win every game 2-1. You got to win these 3-2, 4-3, 5-3 games. You have to do it. And they haven't been able to dating back to last year. So I was really impressed overall with the game. I'm not all doom and gloom. Clearly, you have to win Saturday night. Like it's like you have to win. You can't go down 3-1 going back to Boston. You have to win Saturday. I'm not like all doom and gloom. It just does feel like a lot of these, like both of these losses have been self-inflicted, and that's what bothers me. You know, like even on that second goal that I was just mentioning, where the refs missed those 2 calls, the Leafs were all like, hey, and it completely distracted them from the play. Like the whistle didn't go. They were complaining about the call. They got caught off guard. And Frederick scored the goal. So it's like, yes, the refs missed the call, but you also were too busy whining about a missed call that the other guys went down and scored a goal on a shot that Samsonov probably should have saved. So it's like, I just feel like the Leafs have been beating themselves. I don't feel like Boston's been beating them. I feel like the Leafs have been beating them. And that's what does kind of concern me. But I like the way they played, and this is a purely Maple Leaf perspective. The Boston Bruins, I don't think that Boston's played like terrific over the last 3 games. I don't. I feel like they've been opportunistic, and they have 2 incredible goaltenders. I thought that Toronto's been the better team by and large for the last 3 games. But you know what? When Tampa Bay lost to Toronto last year, Tampa Bay was the better team for most of that series. So sometimes a better team loses. You just got to score goals. It's that simple. So those are my thoughts on the Leafs last night. I'm sure I have a lot more, but turns out the Leafs aren't the only team in this league. So we'll move on. Thanks for listening, as always. All right, 2 games to talk about. Well, before we do, Andre, you watched that game last night. Like, did you like did I miss anything? But do you have any thoughts on what we saw last night? Or am I just being like a super fanboy right now?
I think the game tying goal pretty accurately sums up the 2-1 to make it 2-2 by Boston. Pretty much sums up like that game in this series. Really, it was just Boston got away with one because they know how. That's what they do. Leafs got distracted. Bruins got a softie. It's a ball game again. I mean, it's really that simple. They're capitalizing on the little things, and the Leafs just need to keep their head screwed on, and you're not seeing it for a full 60 minutes.
Yeah, no, 100% right. 100% right. All right, enough of that. Let's move on. 2 games in the NHL tonight, and we are starting in the, what's it called? The Sunshine State. Is that Florida? The Sunshine State. This series moves to Tampa Bay. Florida up 2-0. I'm a little bit surprised to see Tampa Bay favored, only because of how big of an underdog they've been the last 2 games. Not like all in all, I'm not surprised that Tampa's favored, but we've seen the books heavily favor the Florida Panthers over the last 2 games. So I'm a little bit surprised that they're favored here, but Florida is still minus money. The Panthers on the road are minus 105. Tampa Bay Lightning at home minus 115. The over is 6 at minus 112, and the under is minus 108. Plus 1.5 for the Panthers is minus 265. Minus 1.5 for the Lightning is plus 215. John, we'll go to you first, man. What do you see in this game tonight?
Reluctantly, I'm going to take Tampa Bay. They have to win this game. It's pretty much that simple. Otherwise, they're going down 3-0. Florida's a very good road team. We've talked all year about how good of a home team Tampa is. So I kind of think that cancels out each other. I have to think this Tampa offense is going to show up at some point. I mean, they've gotten held to, I believe, 2 goals in each of the first 2 games of this series. So it's like, I know Florida has elite goaltending. I understand that. But is this Lightning team really going to be this quiet for the entire series, especially now that they're going back to Tampa for their first home game in this series? I think if they're going to win a game, this is it. So, again, reluctantly, I'm going to double down and say Tampa Bay's not quite done yet.
What about you, Andre? What do you see here, bro?
Tampa's right there. Games 1 and 2, I felt like they lost marginally in Sunrise. And I know, I guess, when you're in-state rivals, and I have a feeling Tampa has a larger following based on their dynasty and just a longer history of success. So maybe home ice isn't the biggest thing for the Panthers, but it just feels like the Lightning have been one big play away from being up 2-0. Kudos to the Panthers because they do play tough always. They win these tight games consistently. They have everything they need to do that. So I'm not saying it's a fluke or anything, but we know how good the Lightning are in a Molly. It's been a thing all season long. It's been a thing for 5 years running now. It's been a thing longer than 5 years, honestly. You could probably run it back a decade. It's very difficult to go into that building, especially playoff time, and come out with, I almost said 2 points, and come out with a win. So it's kind of concerning how the Panthers, that first game was 2-1 for most of it. The last game was 2-2 for the back half, went to overtime. And honestly, if it weren't for a miraculous Bobrovsky save where he wasn't even looking, the Panthers are trailing 3-2 midway through that game. And do they climb back and find that game-tying goal? Do the Lightning get one back? Did the Lightning take a 2-goal advantage because the Panthers are pressing more? You don't know. The point being that the Lightning are just a break away from this being a series in their favor. It's an experienced team. They're right there. They're at home. They need this just like the Panthers. I think they have everything in them for a deep playoff run on that roster, maybe lacking a little bit in defensive depth. But for this game, and I think probably for next game, that's not going to be a concern. So I think this series still has 7 games in it, even though the Lightning are down 2-0, and I think it starts tonight. I'm going to take the Lightning minus 115.
Yeah, man. I think I'm right there with you guys. I hesitate a little bit only because I've taken Tampa Bay both 2 games, and that hasn't panned out well. I'm going to have the same dilemma in game 3 of the Dallas-Vegas series because I've been picking Dallas both those games as well. Listen, I'm right there with you guys. That was all well said, Andre. If I'm Tampa, I'm pretty encouraged. I wouldn't say Florida outplayed Tampa, might be a bit too strong, but I do feel like Florida has been the one, excuse me, kind of dictating how these games go. I feel like Florida's been the one taking away time and space from Tampa. Florida's been the one kind of locking it down and keeping it tight. And if I'm Tampa, I'm right there with you. Like, I'm thinking, man, we could easily be up 2-0. We haven't been getting blown out. Both those games were super close, and we haven't played our best hockey yet. I think out of all of the series that are 2-0, and I'm not saying Tampa's going to win this series. I did pick them to win in our playoff preview, but out of all of these series that could go back to back to the top seeds home ice 2-2. I think it's the series. I absolutely could see Tampa Bay pulling out both of these games. And I'm going to pick the Lightning to win tonight as well at -115. As far as the total goes, man, these totals in these playoffs are just absolute hit or miss, man. I have no idea. I'm going to guess under, and I'm probably going to stay away. I'm expecting a push. Like, I'm expecting a 4-2 game, maybe 3-2. I would kind of lean on the under side of things, but I'll just take Tampa Bay on the money line, and we'll see how I do in my baseball bets. If I win a bunch of day games today, maybe I'll take that under as well, but we'll see what happens. I'll also say I've made a decision, and nobody cares, but I do, and I have a microphone, so I'll just say what I want. I think that Sergei Bobrovsky save, I made a decision that it is the best save that I've ever seen. I really do think that it was the best save I've ever seen. And I'm sure there's lots of saves that I don't remember, but that save was absolutely heroic, man. Like, that was unbelievable, especially in the context of when that moment was. That was just incredible. All right, moving on. Carolina. Series shifting to Long Island. Carolina is up 2-0 in the series. There we go. The Islanders +136 at home, -162 are the Hurricanes on the road. Huge road favorites. The over is 5.5. Surprise, surprise, at -105, and the under is -115. -1.5 for the Hurricanes is +164. +1.5 for the Islanders is -198. Man, I am super interested to see what this Islanders team responds with tonight, because that loss the other day was absolutely crushing. You're up 3-0, and it's really interesting with that game because I felt like the Islanders were up 3-0, and they were up 3-0 pretty early, and they decided just to shut it down and just try to lock the Hurricanes up rather than push offensively. Maybe one of you guys can check this for me, but I'm pretty sure that in the last period and a half, the Islanders got like 5 shots on net, which is like, this is the Carolina Hurricanes we're talking about, man. If you're like up 3-0, you just got to push that foot down harder, man. Like, you cannot lock it down with 2 periods of hockey left to go. I have not seen, we'll see what DraftKings has to say. I have not seen who is in net tonight. It is Sorokin. Okay, so they are moving to Sorokin tonight. Man, that save prop, 29.5. That is high, man. They're just expecting to get peppered. So Sorokin is in net tonight. I'm interested to see what that means. I didn't think that Varlamov necessarily cost them the game. I know he let in some goals, but I felt like the Islanders just really took the foot off of the pedal. And so with Sorokin, it's interesting that there's no goalie prop for Carolina up yet. You'd think they would go back to Freddie, but we'll see what happens. I just can't. I just can't go with the Islanders right now, man. I feel like if they're going to win a game, this is probably it. I understand. They're at home. You guys, I think, have both been to Islanders home games. Those places are friggin' crazy. They're reckless out there. It's going to be a crazy environment. But I just have a hard time putting my faith in the Islanders right now. I think I'm leaning 60-minute line for Carolina at +105, or maybe even -1.5 again at +164. I just think that they had their chance. I know it's only game 3, but you blow that lead the other day. I think it's over. I just think that I don't know. I'm just really interested to see the response by the Islanders tonight because the Hurricanes ripped their soul out the other day, and I'm really curious to see how they're going to respond. But we'll see what happens. So I'm going to lean Hurricanes 60-minute line plus 105 and the puck line at plus 164. And as far as the total goes, I don't know. Give me I don't know. Give me an over. Why not? John, what do you got in this game, bro?
I'm gonna go 60-minute line for the Canes as well. I agree. The Islanders are just not looking great right now. I think I expected more from them, even early in the series. They just haven't shown me that they're capable of keeping up with Carolina yet. And considering Carolina's the team I picked to win the Stanley Cup, I have a hard time going back on that now. So I'm gonna say I'm not quite confident enough to pick the puck line because I saw he's at the plus 160 for the Canes side. So I think it's a bit of a drastic jump. I'm not sure the Canes will blow them out, but I think they can win this in regulation.
What about you, Andre? What do you got on this one?
The good news for the Islanders is that game 1, it was tight wire to wire.
Yep.
Game 2, they were up 3-0 on the road, had it in their palms. The bad news is bad old habits die hard, and we saw the team from January, February, and March that consistently blew leads and let games slip away do it again at the worst time. So they're right there, but can they finish is the big question. Not just finish their shots and hit the back of the net, finish these games off by keeping Carolina out of their offensive zone when they need to. And I think that they do. This team actually had a winning record at home. They were awful on the road all season, so I'm not surprised they lost both games to Carolina, even with how they played. And I think that Sorokin getting the rest, I think Sorokin in that home environment, the crowd's going to be going crazy for him because Varlamov may be Patrick Waugh's guy. Sorokin is still Long Island's guy. They're going to go rapid for him. They're going to, when they get that first big save, they're going to go crazy, think he's back. They think he's the best goalie in the world. They're going to treat him like it if he plays like it. So I think this is good. I'm not surprised that Sorokin's in net. I actually kind of expected it, especially after how that second game finished. And I think it's perfect for him. I think it's perfect for the team. And I think if and when they get a lead, because I expect another tight game, they're going to hold on. They're going to have momentum. They're going to build on it. They're not going to sit back. They're going to take this one home. So I think this is still Carolina's series to win, or I guess Carolina's series to lose at this point. They're up 2-0. But tonight, I think the Islanders are going to take it home. So give me the under and give me the Islanders plus 136.
Yeah, and it's funny, man. Like, as you were talking, like, I was just remembering, like I predicted Carolina to go up 2-0, and I predicted the Islanders to come back and to tie the series. That's what I predicted at the very beginning of this series. And I went off of it today just because, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just looking too hard into what happened the other day. But as always, logical takes from Andre. Let's move on. Those are the only 2 games in the NHL tonight. 4 more games tomorrow. Let's move on to our best bets, brought to you by none other than First Round Collectibles. Right now with our promo code SportsAddict, get 10% off whatever sports card your heart desires. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens of cards store-wide. And with our promo code SportsAddict, not only do you get 10% off of regular price items, but sales items as well. Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing, they got it all. So head over to firstroundcollectibles.com, my guys. and find your heroes. That's the number one, STRoundCollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. John, what is your best bet on this Thursday night of the Stanley Cup playoff?
I think it's going to be the Lightning. The
Ooh.
money line. I just don't think they're done in this series yet. Like Andre said before, they've been on the cusp of winning these early games, and I think like only scoring 2 goals in each of the first 2 games, even against Bobrovsky, that's just not like this Lightning team. I expect them to come out swinging tonight and get a much needed win.
One thing that we forgot to mention is that Sam Bennett is out for at least a week, which I think is a big factor. He's a real emotional driver for that team. So that is something that we forgot to mention that I think is a really big deal. So love it, John. Andre, what do you got?
Well, good catch by you. Excuse me. I think every series in the East has more life than people probably expect, especially given the scores in those series, excluding Bruins Leafs. Obviously, that's 2-1. Can't be any different. But Panthers Lightning 2-0, I think that has more life. Canes Islanders 2-0, I think that has more life. The other series, I think, has more life. And I'm going to stick with the home team getting their first win of the series tonight. There's only 2 games, obviously, so you know which one I'm taking. Islanders plus 136. If they lose, I won't feel bad about it, though. So it's kind of
Absolutely love it, man. A little risky on a Thursday night, but we're getting close to the weekend. Why not? I'm gonna be risky right there with you. I'm gonna be risky right there with you. My son has seen us blowing our nose, so now he just holds a paper towel to his face and makes sounds. It's quite funny. All right, moving on. So for me, my best bet, first game, a little bit quiet. Second game, this player for the Tampa Bay Lightning got 4 shots on goal. They got him at the trade deadline. This is right up Andre's alley. They got him at the trade deadline. They needed a little bit more depth, high energy guy. If Tampa Bay is going to make this a series, they need more people. Cooch has been quiet, man. They've really, really locked him up. Stamkos has been doing his thing, but they need more. The Lightning do from the depth in their lineup. 4 shots in the last game, overtime loss to the Florida Panthers. Give me. It's not even up here. All of that hype.
I know.
Oh my!
I put his goal scorer in there for you, though. I'm going to bet on his goal scorer just because you inspired me. So he's plus 310 to score a goal.
Oh man! All right, screw it. Anthony Duclair to score a goal, plus 310. And when that shot prop comes up, because it's not going to be high, like they're not going to have him at 4.5 shots or anything. It'll probably be about 2.5. I'm seeing the alternate. Man, all of that hype, and you know what? DraftKings doesn't sponsor this show. If they want to, they can, but they don't sponsor it. I guarantee you FanDuel has Anthony Duclair on the shot prop. I promise you. So head over to FanDuel and check out Anthony Duclair, his shot props, because I'm telling you he's up there. But I'll take a goal scorer. Why not? What'd you say? Plus 310?
It was plus 310, yeah.
All right, let's do it. I like this guy to get a goal tonight, and I think he's a big part of the Tampa Bay victory.
I went to covers.com. I'm not seeing any shot props either, honestly. That's kind of weird. Oh, no, that's goals. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, I can't really help you. But
see, they know that we're about to get rich. That's what it is. So
Yeah,
take the
we got
goal
him.
scorer prop.
We got
Yeah.
him with that one. So our best bets for today. First up, John with the Tampa Bay Lightning money line at minus 115. Moving on, same game parlay. Mark picked Anthony Duclair, the former Ranger and the former Florida Panther, to score a goal at plus 310. Islanders money line is plus 136 at the 7:30 start. Altogether, that is plus 1150. But Anthony Duclair goal scorer is a placeholder for shots on goal, so the odds will probably go down. But all three are going to hit anyway, so your money will still be made.
Absolutely love it. Yeah, you're right, man. FanDuel doesn't have it up either. Super weird. But I'm expecting a big game from him tonight. All right, as always, thank you everybody for watching, whether you're watching live or throughout the day. We appreciate you. A little scheduling note, tomorrow there will be no show. However, we will be back. Andre and I will be back. John, you'll be back with us in a couple days. We'll be back tonight to discuss tomorrow night's game. So no show tomorrow morning, but after the games tonight, we will be back to preview Friday's slate. 4 games in the NHL tomorrow. So just a heads up, no show tomorrow morning, but we will be back later tonight to discuss everything that happens tonight and the 4 games tomorrow. As always, thank you to Total Apex Sports for having us on board. We appreciate you. Go check out the website. Go check out their YouTube and their Twitter. Live content all day long. Andre, I'm sure you'll be all over it. First on collectibles, promo code SportsAddict, 10% off regular priced and sales priced items. Have a great night. Enjoy the games. And hey, we'll see you later tonight.